Tell us what's going on in Fayetteville as the game is getting ready to take place.
Is there a game this week, Paul? No, you're very kind to say all those things right there out the gates. It's great to be with you. And yeah, obviously Northwest Arkansas is all about hogs and horns, and this rivalry renewed this weekend, and it's a sellout in Fayetteville on Saturday. We're pumped up, Paul. You know that.
Yeah, and I mean, a sellout should not sound like a big deal, but I've been there a few times in recent years, and during the other coach's regime, there were plenty of tickets to get.
Exactly. No, I mean, you would think, Razorbacks and Razorback land, that it would be a no-brainer, that this thing would regularly be sold out. But unfortunately, the stadium expansion a few years back, and we haven't seen it filled up too many times. You didn't want to mention the names, but I'll do it for you. That we all know about the ditch and Bobby Petrino and how that led to Brett Bielema, and, how Brett seemed to have it on the verge but never broke through. And obviously after that, it was, the debacle of Chad Morris for 2 years. I don't know if there's a nicer way to put it than that. So Sam Pittman for the last 2 years now, year two in play last week with a season opening win over Rice. I think he's got a lot of good mojo going on. Certainly the fans are on his side. If he can come through with a big win on Saturday, it would go a long way towards putting this program back on the map again.
And Josh, the record doesn't indicate it, but tell us what's going on in that community and why there is such adoration for Sam Pittman.
No, it's a great question, and it's one that I think, Paul, you've started to answer on your show and your conversations with him, and I feel like even here locally, we're still trying to put our finger on it too. It's his personality. He's very charismatic. He's engaging. He's one of those people who, much like you, Paul, when you sit down to lunch with him or even just have him on your radio show for 10 minutes, you feel he's present. You feel he looks you in the eye. You feel like this guy's a straight shooter. And for folks in the South, you know that, especially in Arkansas, that goes a long way. Word still matters around here. So I think Sam Pittman brings that to the table. Recruiting reflects that. I mean, recruits are buying into what he's selling them, despite not, more than 3 wins last year, maybe 4. We include that Auburn game. So 1 win last week against Rice, and we'll see if he can get this second one. But obviously, folks feeling good about the vibes he's bringing.
JB, this is such a big game, and older fans understand the meaning of this rivalry maybe more than young folks. But in terms of what happened Saturday night, is this Arkansas team capable of pulling it off? Do they have enough players?
I mean, I think the easy answer is yes, they can pull it off. But I think they're going to need to play 4 really strong quarters. I mean, I think, you bring up the right way of looking at it. Do you have enough players? Do you have enough depth to beat Texas? And I don't know if we have the answer either way yet. I think you handicap this game. You look at it being what? Vegas has it at 6.5 right now, Texas favored on the road. That seems like a lot to me. Obviously, Bijan Robinson is a heck of a player. Maybe the best running back in the country. But, the rest of that Texas team is still very much a work in progress. Sarkisian has been honest about that. And I thought he looked the part last week watching that game from afar against Louisiana. And I think Texas is a big challenge. I think they are the favorite this weekend for a reason. But I feel like Arkansas's got some players, folks around the country are about to find out about on national television, right, on ESPN this weekend. I'm thinking of Jalen Catalon, likely first-round pick, who's a safety for Arkansas. I'm thinking of Treylon Burks, who's a likely first- or second-round pick, wide receiver for Arkansas. And obviously the new young quarterback, KJ Jefferson, who runs really well but is still a work in progress in the passing department. These guys are not household names yet, but this opportunity this weekend, national television, sold out already here in Arkansas. It's a chance for them to become more household names. I think Arkansas's got a real shot, Paul. I really do.
JB, I was on your show not long ago talking about the entrance of Texas, whenever that is, to the SEC. To the folks of Fayetteville who know this rivalry, and I think it's an underappreciated rivalry, how deep. We talk about 69, but I mean, these are 2 programs that have been going at it for a very long time. What does it mean to Arkansas fans to get Texas in the SEC?
We had Ken Hatfield on the show this morning, and obviously he's the guy who was on the 64 national championship team at Arkansas, had a heck of a run as a head coach here in the 80s, some great success elsewhere. But Ken's a good guy to ask after his time on the playoff committee as well about the past and the present of college football, much like you, Paul. And look, I mean, Ken said to me this morning, you know, for folks in this generation, for the youngins, for people, 30 years and under, they just don't get it. And it's not their fault. I mean, Arkansas, Texas haven't been in the same league in 30 years. And this game this weekend is actually 13 years in the making. They were supposed to play a home and home. And the first game got played in Austin back in 2008. And then Texas, kicked the can down the road. Well, once, twice, maybe three times. 13 years late on making that up. So what does that say? That says Texas had other things going on. Meanwhile, Arkansas in the SEC is trying to get the credibility back. Here comes Texas back into town, like you mentioned, this summer. I think it's a great move for Texas. I think it's a great move for the SEC, and it brings back, like you said, an historic rivalry. I mean, visions of Frank Royals and Darrell Royal and Nixon in the house in '69. I don't need to explain to you those epic games that the generations past remember. And those generations are very much still alive. I don't mean to talk about them like they're in the past tense, but it's dads, it's grandpas now who remember that burning passion, that hatred for Texas, that kind of feeling that's okay in sports where maybe it's not okay elsewhere. And it's unique, it's interesting, it's kind of like a big brother and a little brother relationship. But you know what? Little bro has beaten big bro 22 times. So let's not forget, over 80 years of playing each other, Arkansas does rear up and win this game a fair amount of times. We'll see what happens this weekend.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.